Good evening, and what an evening it is. We are going live just as the Montreal and Carolina game gets going here, so I'm sure there will be lots of interest in tonight's show, but if you are taking the time to watch, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to have some fun. I do have the game going. I promise not to be too distracted by it. It's this conference finals, man. It's been a rip-roaring adventure, I tell you what. Anyway, how you doing? Welcome to Scouching Live. It's May 25th. 2026. We are rapidly approaching the end of tracking season, rapidly approaching finalization season, rapidly approaching party time, rapidly approaching the community mock draft, rapidly approaching the guess the first round contest, rapidly approaching draft week, which is just going to be chocked full of stuff. Final rankings will come after the finalization process. Again, if you are not a member of the Discord server, now would be a decent time to join, because we are going to be over the next, maybe not next week. Well, what's the date today? The 25th? I just said it. Yeah, probably next week. What we're going to be doing is like going through the archive that I've pulled from the year, looking at players, just the stuff that I've saved from over the year, finalizing the ordering, finalize the ordering of, oh man, yeah, the rankings next to me. Let's change that. Yeah, I forgot I had Pronman's rankings there. Bill's list, there it is. Bill's list, haha. There we go. Thank you for fixing it for me. So we're going to be going through our stuff like that, and we're going to be doing a goalie day as well. We're going to take a day next week and take a look at some goalies. I think it's a good year for goalies. There's a lot of fun ones out there to watch. I actually just saw one today. While tracking a player, I was interested in the goalie that was in net for the team that they were playing. They spent a lot of time in their own end, so I got plenty of looks at him, and still a fan of the goalie. So anyway, tons going on between now and the end of the year, but in terms of the data tracking, right now the phase for me has been find all the players that I haven't seen in a while that probably will get drafted, circle back on them, make sure I feel the way I feel about them, and that's been illuminating, I'll say. So that's where we're kind of at. A couple of guys that are getting videos need a game here and there to finish things off, but by and large, it's just a matter of like a lot of the players that have been front of mind when I wake up in the morning going, you know what, I haven't seen that guy in a while, and I kind of, he might be in the wheelhouse of a draft pick this year that might be possible, and maybe I should think about this player a little more, maybe whatever. Anyway, you get the point. You get the picture. You get the point. But anyway, yeah, so thank you for joining me tonight. I know it's obviously a busy night with the Montreal Canadiens game, or the Carolina game, depending on who you're a fan of. But yeah, what a period it has been over the last couple of weeks, or since the beginning of the conference final. Anywho, also one more thing. I pushed through a new update to the to scouchsim.com, which is our draft simulator, my draft simulator. If you are doing a draft alone, you can now flip through. Instead of getting one trade offer per team, you can flip through all the teams that have statistically possible offers, and then toggle through all of the options within each team. So now, instead of like always getting 3 picks for one because the computer thinks that getting 3 for one is a good deal, you can now sort of just toggle through and pick what you want. So trading down in the draft is now a lot more accessible. That was something that I've been meaning to deal with for a while and have been not having too much time to do so. So finally got that done last night, and it got pushed out overnight. So I tested it, and it works for me. So hopefully you don't have any issues. By the way, the beverage of the evening, we got this at the local Fortino's marketplace. We felt a little bougie, so we went to Fortino's one time, and now I can't pay my mortgage. We're doing the strawberry lemonade ginger ale with no sugar in it, so it's pretty good. I mean, I was with some family over the weekend, and they don't seem to like it, but I like it, so more for me, I suppose. Is there any other housekeeping? I don't think so. It's an odd headspace. We're super busy between now and the end of the year. But also it's just a different type of busy than what I'm used to, and it's an adjustment. But anyway, also playing a lot of Forza Horizon, a lot of Forza Horizon 6 going on in this household when I'm done all my work and I'm just trying to wind down before bedtime. Nothing like ripping around at 300 kilometers an hour before you go to sleep. Yeah, but and that's a great one. I think it's a great one. It's really, really fun. And we all it's really I pulled a DeLorean in a wheel spin, which made me really happy, and turned the DeLorean into an actual sports car. For anyone who doesn't know, the DeLorean, when it was new in the 80s, it was advertised as this exciting sports car, but since it was made out of like steel, it was pretty heavily weighed down and not actually that fast, and it was a huge disappointment. And then the guy ended up going to jail. It was a huge disaster. Kind of like it was rough. So basically turning that car into the sports car it always deserved to be. It's fun. All right, the Montreal Canadiens are about to take the ice against the Carolina Hurricanes, trying to take a bit of a jump in this series. I would not want to be the Carolina Hurricanes going into this game. The Bell Center in the playoffs this year has been absolutely out of control. All right. Someone asked what's up. What's up up literally is the Montreal game and my draft simulator here. I'm sure there will be questions about things that might happen in the draft at some point. There's been quite a lot of discussion already about all kinds of things. It's going to be an exciting year, man. I'm telling you, this season's going to be exciting. We'll see what happens. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Do you think Norway's performance at the World Championships this year is a sign of the future? Well, I mean, the World Championships are always pretty messy in terms of like, really being, it's not a best on best tournament, really. And teams have, like, Denmark beat Canada last year and they eliminated the Canadians last year. Like all kinds of weird stuff happens, right? Yeah, Canada lost in the quarterfinals. So did Finland. Austria was a quarterfinal team. Slovakia wasn't. What else is like? I do feel though. I will say that from what I have seen of the Norwegian team, they've obviously had some really, really good results. Oh, they beat Sweden. I did not notice they beat Sweden on Saturday. That's pretty incredible. But I will say, like, some really good players are very young for this team. Even going as far back as, like, Mattias Emilio Pettersson, he's always been a really fun player to watch. And as a guy who, he's 26, so he's kind of midway through his career, but that's been an interesting one. I mean, obviously, Tunus Luke Koblar is he's having a fantastic tournament. Everybody's kind of noticing him. And I still got the search engine optimization on him going pretty good with oh my god, it's so loud in there. The SEO on him is pretty good. If you search on YouTube, my video is one of the first that comes up, so still feeling pretty good about that. But I mean, I think there are a lot of good players coming from Norway that are already on this men's team. Petter Vesterheim is still kicking around, and I have always liked him. Like Stian Solberg, there are guys in Norway that are moving things along. You look at the under-18 team this year, though, and I didn't think they were particularly, incredible. They weren't awful, but they had a rough go this year. They've got some interesting goaltenders on the way. I do like, what's his name, the defenseman, Philip Tollefson. He's a good one. He's a 2010, and I think he's an interesting player. But in general, I mean, they're doing quite well. I'd say that they're like, could they, like, who could they possibly be facing in the quarterfinals this go around? I don't know. But they're in the middle of in the table. But hey, a good performance is a good performance, man. So good for them. But every so often, Norway has a couple of guys that pop up and are draft worthy, and off they go. Yeah, Bill Nye the Scouching guy is here. That's me. Do you think Doman Shongoth will get a look in the NHL draft? That's a good question. I actually watched him today, and I feel like someone will take a shot at him. I mean, I took him off the list after seeing him today. I just, it's not that I don't really like him. I think he's an interesting player, but it's like I don't. It's one of those things where I just don't know if he's ever going to be high on my list relative to the other players that are available, that are likely to be available where I would draft a player. I don't think he's played a ton at the World Championships either. Or he actually has. He's been like a third liner for Hungary. So that's fun. But I mean, I think that there's a guy who could be like a decently translatable player. He's decently sized. I wouldn't say he's big, but he's decently sized. He plays big. He plays a physical game. He's a center. Teams love that. You know, like, I mean, it's not too much to say he's probably the best player to come out of Hungary in a long time, but he's a really good player. He's a really good player, and I don't know if he's like an NHLer, but I could see someone giving him a slot, giving him a look. Okay. Early thoughts on Douglas Johnson for next year's draft? I love him. I think he's one of the better defensemen available. I'm just thinking. I also have my 2027 list pulled up here. Yeah, Douglas Johnson, like, he's a high priority guy for me next year. I think he's just really, really good. I saw him first earlier this year, and then at the under 17s, I felt he was one of the best players on the Swedish roster. Just a really, really dynamic defenseman. Tons of skill. Good mobility for a kid that age. Lots of bright signs, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty young. Yeah, July 2009. So tons of time to grow a little more. He's only 5'10", but he's 16 and doesn't turn 17 until July. So that's a plus. And I thought he was really good at the under 17s. He's a really, really high priority guy for me next year. I can't give you like a detailed readout because I haven't seen a ton of them. But yeah, really big fan. I plan on getting the new Forza. Your brother likes it? You should, Ben. It's fun. It's really, really fun. And it's engaging too. I've for what it's worth, I bought a Peel P50 in that game pretty much immediately with a Sonic the Hedgehog meme livery and jammed a motorcycle engine in it with turbochargers, and that thing just rips 275 kilometers an hour on 3 wheels. It's a hoot. Impossible to control, but that's part of the fun. It's worth drafting. It's worth buying. The drafting in the game is also pretty good, where you're trailing behind a car, and then, it's a good time. And I'm not a big racing guy, honestly. I mean, I watch F1 and stuff. I watched the race this weekend in Montreal, but you know what I mean. Not always a huge racing game guy, but Forza Horizon's a lot of fun. Early DuPont thoughts as compared to Schaefer. I don't think he's Matthew Schaefer level, but I don't think he's that far behind. I mean, he is a guy who is penciled in at number 1 for me. I've been watching him since he was 15. Just a really, really good player. I really like what he's bringing to the table. That's a hell of an O Canada rendition, I will not lie. Yeah, DuPont is a guy who I've just really, really liked. And, I mean, the skill... I mean, obviously, that goalie set up last night with Carter Bear... Was that last night? 2 nights ago? Recently? Was really, really impressive. But he's been doing that kind of thing all year, right? I mean, he's just a really dangerous, skilled defenseman who's confident and does plenty of things really, really well. Had a bit of a slow start to the year, from what I remember and what I saw early, but once he hit his stride and sort of got his feet under him, he absolutely ripped, man. He absolutely ripped. And, he's a heck of a player. We had the pleasure of interviewing him. He was awesome. That was last year, I think. Or was that earlier this year? I think that was earlier this year. Time flies, man. But yeah, fun player. I don't know if but right now, I don't think he's like on the Schaefer level, but also when Schaefer was 16, I did not see this at all in him, right? Like, I did not see that at all. But you never know. So you never know. There's still lots of time for him to get quite a lot better. Opening face-off, Eric Robinson, right wing, baby. Let's go. Yeah, Carolina playing with their third line. I mean, this line has been really good. Jankowski, Robinson, and who's 28 on this team? Carrier, right. How could I forget? Will Carrier. We bring him up all the time. Weisstein and Lawrence so high for you? I think the playoffs are exemplifying. I think the playoffs are exemplifying why I have Lawrence so high. Like, based on the way I see the game and strategize the game, I look for guys that drive as many results in as many areas as possible, right? So if you don't have the puck, you either have the puck or you don't. So, and a lot of the time you don't have the puck. So how you play without it matters a lot, right? And so I see Lawrence's energy, his speed, the fact that he's a center and a really good one up the middle. He is a very, very involved defensive player from my experience. And that matters a lot. That's like in terms of high value stuff, that's a fundamental baseline that you start with. Then you sort of go, okay, well, when they get the puck, how do they play? And Lawrence is pretty much across the board one of the best offensive transition players I've tracked this year. Passing, carrying, pass receptions, all really, really good. Once the puck's in the offensive zone, he's not that much worse than a lot of guys in this draft. Like, he played in the NCAA most of the games I tracked, and he drove better playmaking results than Malhotra did in the sample I did. You know, I think he was just fantastic, and I think he just got better and better and better. And just as soon as he was really starting to hit his stride, their season ended. I also feel like with Lawrence, a lot of the surroundings around him, it was tricky. It was tough. Like I look at that team breaking the puck out, and if he wasn't involved, it was a real struggle. He was setting up a lot of plays that just missed the net and just didn't really work. And I think he was a bit of a problematic shooter with Muskegon for sure, and that definitely went away as time went on. I look at Lawrence, and one of the things I value the most is how much I can trust a player at any given time in any given situation at any state of the game, right? Like, how many times can I check a box where I'm like, yes, I will trust this player in this scenario? And there's not many things where I wouldn't trust Lawrence. He doesn't have the flash of a Gavin McKenna. I don't think he has the dynamic ability of a Stenberg, but I look at Lawrence and I go, yeah, but he's going to win. Like, if you have a Lawrence out there for 17, 18 minutes a night and you don't win, I don't think it's going to be his fault. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something that's really, really, really valuable. Like, how valuable is it to have a guy in the playoffs that just competes his tail off and makes someone look silly that makes twice as much money as they do? I think Lawrence is a really, really great version of that. And again, like, the other thing I always will say, go look at Lawrence's production in Muskegon this year. If he had stayed there all year, scored 40 goals, had 90 points, would anyone bat an eye on him being third on the list? I don't think anybody would care. So he gets, like, him and a few other guys are getting penalized for challenging themselves, which I think is just I think it's just wrong to do that. Like, you're surprised when a player joins an NCAA team in the best year the NCAA's ever had, halfway through the year on a team that is struggling, and gets thrown in at center at 17 years old. The guy doesn't turn 18 until after the draft. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't penalize a player for that. Like, it's unusual, but I don't know. I see the player for what he is, and I mean, I feel like he's just a guy that is going to give you the best effort you can and the best possibility of winning whenever he's on the ice. And that is very, very valuable to me. It's why I had, like, an Eklund really high last year, or a Teddy Stiga the year before. Like, those guys, shift in, shift out, are going to move heaven and earth to try to win a hockey game. And that's valuable. And it's a je ne sais quoi, to steal a French term. It's a je ne sais quoi about their style of play. They just have a gene in them, right? That is very valuable and may not always get rewarded, but is valuable. Oh, here we go. I did research regarding the playoffs of the CHL to see how different they've become, if different at all. I broke down the playoffs in 3 categories. In 2026, there were 24-game series, which was 7 above the above average and 2 above average. When looking at 5, 6, and 7-game series, they were all below average in 2026. So, like, okay, you won. All right, fine. You won. I give up. You're right. Yeah, whatever. The Canadian Hockey League is healthier than ever. Everything is just dandy fine. Nikita Klepov's going to go first overall. JP Hurlburt second overall. You know, Kayla Malhotra is going to be Cindy Crosby. Whatever. Like, you win. I don't know what you want from me. I see a world where if that's true, like, look, I did that. You know what though? I actually did do the exact same thing. And I went back 20 years. Let me see here. Let's see if I can dig it up. I think was it in here? I have so many spreadsheets that I don't even remember where I put it. But because I want my own numbers too, because I did my own thing here. I could have sworn I did it in this one. No. Jalen Chatfield to the penalty box. Here it is. I found it. Like, all right. So I think it's pretty undeniable that pre and post pandemic, there is a pretty big difference. Oddly enough, Quebec was the closest first round out of all the leagues, but like, I don't know. The fact that, like, the fact that 10 of 12 second round series were 5 games or less, I don't think is a good. I don't think is a good thing, right? Like, I look at, yeah, like, I'm just looking through the years here, right? Like, the majority of the time going through the finals, like in the WHL has not had a final that is longer than 5 games since 2022. The OHL 2023. Like, I don't know. I whatever. Look, you're free to believe whatever you want to believe, but I've watched a lot of these guys that are scoring a ton. A lot of these guys everywhere. What is happening with my chair here? I've watched a lot of these guys. And I've watched a lot of those leagues, man, and I don't know how you hand wave it away. It is really, really rough, I think. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe the OHL and whatever is the best place to play, and it's the greatest thing that ever happened. And everybody that's an elite level player leaving is a good thing, you know? Like, it's just, I don't think it is good. And I don't think it is good that when I look at the WHL, of all playoff series, right? Of all playoff series going back to 2019, there hasn't been a year where half the series go longer than 5 games. Like, that's not, I don't think that's a good thing. Right? Like, that's just very strange. And before, 2018 was 40%, 33.3 the year before. Like, it kind of fluctuated, but ever since, it's just been doing an upward trajectory. But regardless, it doesn't really matter all that much, because I still also feel like the competitiveness in that league and all of those leagues has just dropped off. And, like, go look at recent draft results, right? Like, a lot of CHL guys, they're getting drafted really high, but it's a mixed bag, man. It's a really mixed bag. And I just think it's look, I've talked about this to death for like 3 straight months, and I've put my chips on the table. You're not going to convince me it's competitive right now. You're not, right? Like, the Memorial Cup, the first game was 5-1. You know, Chicoutimi took Kelowna to overtime. I don't know. Like, I hate to say watch the games, but like, watch the games. It's just not competitive in my view. And I've watched a lot of the CHL. I find it really, troubling. Like, and again, the numbers don't add up. 63 teams or whatever it is in Canada. It's so many. It's so many. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm so tired of talking about it. Like, yeah, maybe the math doesn't 100% support my point, but it's still like instead of 65% of the series being 5 games or less, it's now 75, so it's not that much different. Right? Like, yeah. I don't know. The Q being more competitive makes sense because a lot of really good American regions are more comfortable going to Quebec now, right? Like, there's a lot of good players in New York and Massachusetts and New England in general that can go to the Merit. Look at how many Americans jumped up to play for Moncton this year, right? Like, that's also part of the issue in Quebec, at least. Like, all the Quebec teams might be very competitive, but the Maritimes now also get a very big benefit. So in any case, I guess the deeper step on this would be looking at goal differentials and everything. But I don't know. I think that there are going to be mistakes made this year with some of the guys that are floating around out there. Like, I don't know. I watched another game of Hamilton today. Did not think Caleb Malhotra looked like a top 3 guy. Maybe I'm just a hater at this point, even though I think he's a good player. But that's just where the chips are right now. It's just not gonna sorry, New York is OHL. You're right. Yeah. No. Yeah. But yes. I can never remember. It just seems so arbitrary and strange. But yes, you're right. I forgot about that. Okie doke. Where are we? Is Vegas now the traditional hockey archetype that's done really well? Seems like Torts is working some buy into the systems while letting them loose in the offensive zone. Well, I mean, I don't think it ever wasn't. Like, the way Vegas plays, like, it's not like they don't have skill. It's not like they don't have speed. It's not like they don't have physicality. They have a lot of things. They punish you. They're a punishing hockey team. And it's not necessarily that they're just like these big tough dudes and they just are boulders on skates. That's not how they play. They're also getting some spectacular goaltending from Carter Hart, I have to say. Like, you know, they are a good team, but they're getting goaltending when they weren't before. And during the season, their numbers were supportive of that team being better than the numbers indicated, or than the results indicated. And I think that with Vegas, it's like, I think Colorado, you lose Cale Makar, and that just blows you up, and now you might be losing McKinnon. Like, McKinnon did not look very good. I didn't get to see the whole game last night, but McKinnon, it did not look the same there. And Marty Necas can only take you so far, right? Like, and this is what happens when you don't play Gavin Brindley, right? Like, you don't play Gavin Brindley, you lose games. I'm kidding. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, it is just a rough spot for Colorado to be in. And it also seems as though, like, Vegas does a really good job clogging the neutral zone against a team that loves to carry the puck. Like, Colorado plays a fast, skilled game, and it just seems like fast and skilled going up against fast and fast and physical. Like, it's why I don't really look at skill the same way as I used to. Because at the end of the day, like, what good is skill if the guy just wants to eat your lunch money? By eat your lunch money, I mean take it and eat it. Just to make a point. Like, I don't even need to spend this. I'm going to take it and eat it in front of you. You know what I mean? How about that for a mop-up job? Yeah, shot block off the knee. Yeah, like, that sucks. I mean, maybe it's just goal. Shane Gostisbehere. Maybe it's just a temporary thing for him, but he did not look himself. And it's like, it might be too little too late, honestly, for Colorado at this point. It's just not looking too good. And that sucks because Colorado deserves a better fate. But, like, Vegas, man. I mean, Tortorella, this is what he does, though, right? Like, Tortorella comes into a place, cracks the whip, gets the guys sort of into a mode that works, and then eventually it just stops working. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's been a good series, though. Like, for a 3-0 series, I've really enjoyed watching it. It just sucks that Colorado is in the position they're in, and Vegas is just firing on all cylinders. They're just ripping. Albert Smits, what a guy. Damn right. I watched back my Albert Schmidt stuff and not too long ago. I think it might have been a week ago. Yeah. If there's a defenseman that I would consider a one, it would probably be him. I don't know if he would convince me to do it, but I would consider it. Is there a player where there was a flaw in their game, but looking back, it was more of the team structure? That's a great question. That's a great question, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Like, I'm trying to think of guys that worked out, and I didn't really think there was much there. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. And that's a really good question. And I don't really know how I would check that. Like, I actually got this question from someone privately, and I've been talking to them for a little while about it, but like, how I feel like there's a phenomenon where if there's a player that you like and they don't play up to the level you expect, you can hand wave it away saying, oh, it's the structure, right? And I know I just did that with Lawrence, but at least with Lawrence, like, I have I actually like really watch him in detail, and I look at the defensemen, and I've seen a lot of the defensemen that play on that team, and I know what I've thought about them for years, and that's breaking the puck out is an area where they struggle. So it might not even be a problem with team structure there. It's just an execution issue. And that is much easier to spot. Like, the difference between an execution spot, like the difference between an execution problem, on YouTube, I should probably stop saying the word execution so much. But I think that there's a big difference between execution and structure, but I think execution is a lot more of the problem a lot of the time. You know, because, I mean, in my opinion, you show me a good coach and I'll show you a really good motivator. Someone who just gets the guys going, right? Like Montreal, Marty St. Louis has said, like, their structure is relatively loose and they like their guys kind of playing that way. I don't know. It's a really interesting question. But the idea of like, where does structure stop and where does the execution change? Like, to me, if I see a guy who can't break the puck out over and over and over and over and over again, is it because the guys on the other end have hands made of stone, or they're just dumping it, or they're whatever, right? Like, they're just all over the place. I don't know. Yeah, Will thinks Cole Hudson is bad at breaking the puck out. Yeah, exactly. No, he was not the problem. He is awesome. We all know that. He was not the issue there at all. But no, it's a great question, and it's always a time-tested thing. Like, it's always really hard to know. It's a tough one to know because we don't know from this perspective, right? And no coach is going to admit, oh yeah, my structure's no good, right? Every coach loves their system. Otherwise they'd be, like, what would we be talking about? So it's a tricky conundrum. And it's also like, part of this discussion I was having with this person privately was like, at a certain point, I feel like with regards to scouting, you kind of have to throw caution to the wind. You just kind of have to just go, I have an understanding of what the player does, areas where they might struggle, and that's the best I can do. If there are structural things going on, like if I do my legwork and I find out the kid had mono and no one knew about it, that's one thing, right? That's something that I can use. But I don't know. I see it as very, very interesting to talk about, but I don't know if there's a right answer. You know what I mean? Anyway. I watched an interview with Mike Gillis the other day, and he talked about if he was a general manager, he hires someone that is sort of a strategist, researching teams and their strengths and weaknesses. Could we see William Scouch, great NHL League strategist? Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. I saw that clip specifically. I actually shared it in the Discord server this morning. And I think Mike Gillis was a little bit hyperbolic saying that nobody does that. I'm pretty sure that there are teams that have, like, when you see hockey strategy, that I think is what that means. And it's full of just nerds and data engineers and data scientists and all that stuff. Like, that's their job, right? But not every team has that. And, like, I'll say this, like, I interviewed for a job with a team that was on the pro scouting side. And it wasn't like totally like that, but it was kind of up that alley. Like, you were supposed to have a division of teams, and your job was to kind of understand the strengths and weaknesses of those teams. but mostly from like a player personnel perspective rather than a structural one. So it was kind of like up the same alley. And as people would love to point out on Twitter, if I were smart, I would have gotten that job. So here I am. But yeah, I mean, I think with that type of thing, I think it exists, but I don't think it's universal. But hey, I mean, look, I listened to that interview after I saw that clip, and I like what Mike Gillis has to say, man. That guy would be on my short list if I were hiring a GM. I'd be getting on the phone with him and seeing what's out there on him, because he's got some interesting stuff to say. Like, whenever he opens his mouth, I kind of tend to listen, which is great. Thomas Drance name dropped me. Oh my god. I'm becoming a bit of a celebrity in Vancouver, it seems. I've been on multiple radio shows there recently, and we're having a great time with Vancouver. I love it. It's Sat Shah, Bick Nazar. I am terrible at names, and I was on a news show last week, and I cannot remember for the life of me. They do a mock draft every day, and we went through a couple of the first few picks that Vancouver has, and had a lot of fun doing that. So I apologize that I don't remember, but I've been on Sat and Bick's show a ton now, so I know them well. We go way back. So yeah, me in Vancouver, man. We're having fun. You know, I'm pro Canucks. Why not? Is the flip side of players challenging themselves like we saw the Rucks flourishing in the WHL this year? Yeah, I would say so. Like, look, the Rucks, I think Liam is a fine player, especially. I've got him ranked. But like, I think it's pretty telling that pre and post Andrew Basha, their production rates are 60% different, both of them. Like, they were around a point a game, and then Basha came to town, and they're 1.6 points a game in that stretch. Like, it's a drastic difference. And watching Andrew Basha and that team play, it's like, okay, I see how that could be possible. Now, Liam has his place, right? Like, there's definitely spots in a lineup where I would play a Liam Ruck, but where I'm seeing him ranked, I don't think I would do it. I would go elsewhere. It's very to me like, well, maybe not that. I don't know. We won't finish that thought. Canucks legend Jalen Chatfield. Yeah, legend. I remember Jalen Chatfield on the Canucks and watching a few games of theirs and going like, I don't know about this guy, but leave it to Carolina to figure it out, eh? Is Braden Coots comparable to Tynan Lawrence in that regard as you described? Honestly, yeah, there's a little bit of an echo there. I think Lawrence is a better shooter. I think Lawrence has a bit more of an inside-driven, like net-driven attitude. But in terms of, like, I think Coots could be a very good third-line center. Like, part of the reason I really liked the Coots pickup for the Canucks is, like, I think when everything comes out in the wash with Desnoyers and Martin and Higgins and all those other centers out there, with all those guys, they might end up in a similar range of an NHL lineup, right? Like, Braden Coots being a good third-line center for you, getting him in the middle of the first round when other teams are drafting top 5 and might end up with also good third-line centers, like, that's a win to me. And I think Coots is a very good example of that. I also think he looks a lot more dangerous as a player this year than he did last year. Like, I think he's gained a step of confidence and a little bit more of that sort of net-driven attitude, but more so just more on his, like, fundamentals. Like, he's skating a little better. He's improved his skill level a little bit. Like, he's taken steps from what I've seen. And so, yeah, they're cut from a similar cloth. But I think with Lawrence, there's a little bit more oof. I think there's a little bit more upside there, but yeah, you're not wrong. I think so. And I think that's a big reason I like Coots last year, is he has a lot of that juice in his tank, so to speak. After watching both Reed and Verhoff and knowing what Greer likes, I feel like Verhoff is more likely. Well, I don't think, I mean, yeah, Verhoff, I mean, yeah, I have Verhoff and Reed very close. It's very, very close. It's a discussion you can have based on sort of what you like and what you want. And I think Verhoff is a really intriguing option. It's just a long time I think it's just a long time. He's a few years away, I would say. Like, I think he's a guy that hits his stride when he's 22, 23, because there's a lot of good habits in his game. It's just the execution isn't quite there, which does scare me a little bit. Like, that's why I have a little lower than average. And why I have some other guys higher than him that I've seen a little more of now that I kind of like. But again, like, Verhoff put himself in a tough spot this year. And I don't mean that like, oh, how could he? How dare he? But I mean, like, he volunteered himself. Like, Keaton Verhoff could have gone to Victoria and scored 40 goals this year. You know what I mean? It's wild. It's a crazy time. But yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy, those two. Chase Reed, like, if he's the first defenseman drafted, it seemed, according to Pronman, who surveyed 10 scouts, it was unanimous that Reed's going to San Jose. And I'm not going to say that's a bad decision, but I will be very curious to see how that plays out. Like, I think he'll be a good player. I don't know about second overall, but I see the appeal of a player like him. And we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting to look back on that based on what I've seen of him and all the other guys at the top end of the draft this year. If the Sharks take a defenseman, are they unequivocally passing up on value? The fan base feels dead set that anybody who likes a defenseman is advocating against taking best player available, but that sounds oversimplified. Well, I do think that there are players you could make the argument for that are not Ivar Stenberg at 2. I also have not seen Stenberg in a while, so my takes on him are not necessarily fresh. But, I mean, I'll tell you this. A team that is drafting quite high this year, I spoke to an individual there, and all they told me was, like, I'm praying to God every night that we entertain the idea of trading down. And I don't think that that's uncommon. I would be very surprised if more than just one team, I wouldn't be surprised, sorry, if more than one team weren't thinking similarly. Thinking about adding more volume in this class. And I don't really know how to make heads or tails of that. Personally, I don't think you ever draft on need. I don't think in an NHL draft class I don't think you can have any certainty that you can go, if I draft this guy, it will help me fill a gap that is there today. Right? Like, if you draft Chase Reed, he's not coming to the NHL for at least a year. And is San Jose interested in waiting a year to fix their defenseman problem? Like, I don't think so. So if you want to draft a defenseman to fix an NHL level problem, I don't think you do that. Oh, there we go. Mike Matheson, man. He's been an interesting player this playoff as well. And yeah, Stenberg has been really good at the World Championships. I've seen bits and pieces. I just haven't seen a full game of him in a while. And so, I mean, look, like, I don't think... It's really tough. It's a tough spot. Like, the San Jose Sharks have a lot. They've drafted high a lot. And I think the idea of best player available is a very subjective term, because what is best? What is best? Define the word best. That's my John Malkovich doing a Russian accent impression. And I look at him and I go, I look at that decision and I just go, I don't know what I would do. Honestly, my thought would be like, what could I get as an existing NHL player to help me literally today? Stenberg probably could do that. I think Stenberg could chip in on that lineup right away. And I think you have a center version of him in Michael Nisa already. I don't know the answer. I don't think San Jose would be drafting Chase Reed for the next 12 years, but like that's not the point. The point is, like, they have a problem now. Like, I don't think San Jose should be in the business of tanking another season. And that defense group desperately needs improvement. And drafting, I would say, any defenseman except Schmitz, I don't think there's any level of certainty that they're even 1 year away. Right? Like, that doesn't solve your problem. It just solves it down the road. Like, think about it this way, right? Like, New Jersey drafted Simone Nemec because they had too many centers already in Logan Cooley. Or they had too many centers and skipped out on a Logan Cooley. People were telling me for weeks and weeks and weeks, oh no, we're not going to draft Cooley. We can't draft him. We have too many. It's like, well, okay, but like, now look at them, right? So be careful what you wish for, right? Like, be careful what you wish for. Not saying it's, I'm not saying it would be a bad decision, but it's not a good solution to what the perceived issue is, right? Like, it's just not a good solution to what the perceived issue is, at least not right away. And I don't think San Jose should be in the business of like, well, it'll fix our problem in a year or two and that'll be okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. But that's a team that I think should be in the playoffs next year. And drafting a guy who's not going to be there, well, no, I know they're still building their team, but also they shouldn't still be building though. Like, San Jose has been bad for a while, and they almost made the playoffs for a long stretch this year. Like, let's also not pretend that they're terrible, right? Like, they shouldn't still be in the business of being bad, or at least trying to say, let's play for the future. Like, you can't do that forever, especially when you've got Macklin Celebrini on an entry-level contract. Like, if anything, you should be gunning it next year. like if anything, you should be going for it. Well, not going for it like Stanley Cup wise, but like making a push, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, the fear is the Seattle issue, drafting the same position over and over, but also like at the same time, like, Seattle also hasn't really added, like, Seattle has a lot of really good players. They just haven't added anything. Seattle hasn't added, like, they haven't moved assets to acquire a thing, really. Like, they haven't. So they've been kind of sitting on their hands waiting for something to happen. 2-1. They've just been sitting on their hands waiting for something to happen almost. And it doesn't make sense to me. But here they are. So I don't think it's a matter of like they've just drafted the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's like they've done that, but they also haven't turned things around and made moves with those assets, right? Like, again, you will not change my mind. I don't think you ever should look at your current NHL lineup and go, we need this thing now, so let's draft the guy now. It doesn't make sense. Because the San Jose Sharks could make a trade tomorrow to get Morgan Rielly. And if you can reboot Morgan Rielly in a new situation with a new coach, and, you know, in my opinion, he gets a little lighter on his feet. You know, he's a chunky guy for his size. And what if you end up with a really good middle pair defenseman who can move the puck really, really well, and you don't have to pay that much to get him? Then you have, like, you have an upgrade, right? And that's the first name that comes to mind. Right? And you probably don't have to give up that much to do it. Right? Like, that's the type of thing that I think they should be thinking about doing. Like, the defense was dog shit. Like that, but drafting Chase Reed is not going to make your defense better next year. And drafting Chase Reed is kind of a bit of a watered down version of drafting Sam Dickinson. Like, they have the same issues. So, like, if you're worried about adding more of the same thing, you're adding more of the same thing. Like, you just drafted Sam Dickinson, and I've been hearing nonstop about he's the solution, right? Like, I don't know. Like, the Dickinson hopefully takes a step next year. What if he takes a huge step next year and he's your top pair guy? And great. You know, like, I don't know. I guess my point is, like, it's not that simple. And there's a lot of unknowns, and this year's draft class is really close, and you can go a number of different directions. I don't think Chase Reed is the direction I would go. But, you know, like, it's not a horrible decision. But if your goal is to fix a problem that exists on the NHL roster, especially with regards to, like, how your team defends, I don't think he's going to fix that problem. Right? Like, I feel like his strength is, like, moving the puck up the ice. That is his big strength. Which is great. Like, it's good to have that. Right? So it'd be fine. But, like, again, like, you just have to think, well, what does Ivar Stenberg look like in 5 years, right? Like if Ivar Stenberg ends up in Chicago playing second fiddle to Anton Frondel and Connor Bedard, I don't know. You're just, based on what I've seen of these guys, I think you're just opening yourself up to a lot of risk. That's all. It's just risky. That's all. I watched your Xavier Villeneuve video, and even though they clearly have different strengths, a lot of what you said about him reminded me about how I feel about watching Jake Gardner. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a little bit more of an offensive powerhouse than Gardner was. Gardner was a very good offensive defenseman, but I don't think they're a similar player. But I mean, yeah, there are definitely similar issues, I would say. And people threw the baby out with the bathwater on Gardner over and over and over again, and then his back broke. So, you know, these things happen. Sorry, one moment. Okay. Which player is most that guy is fun, stupid, annoying, I want to trade the player and bench them? What a player. Is that 3 different categories? I mean, the guy that's most fun is probably McKenna. Stupid, annoying, I want to trade that player, and it might be, if things don't go so well, it might be Preston. And bench the and well, what a player. I mean, probably Lawrence. Like, I just watched Tynan Lawrence get up and down the ice and get after it and just compete and do everything himself, and just go, that guy's a player, man. He is a guy. He is a GUY guy. He's a guy. Awesome guy. But I mean, McKenna is a riot to watch in so many different ways of the definition. If you have a very good team and a good prospect pool like Utah, Montreal, and Detroit, would you use a late first on a big swing type of guy, or more of a Casey Mutrin type? I mean, it depends on who's available. I mean, I think with Mutrin, like, I don't think it would be that big of a swing at the end of the first round to take a Mutrin. Like, Mutrin is a physical guy. He is a really, really, really physical guy. And that is his calling card. And I look at, like, how Vegas is playing in the playoffs, and I go, I could see Casey Mutrin playing an awful lot like a Vegas Golden Knight in the playoffs. Like, he plays like the type of guy where the on-puck game for me is a question mark. Like, that is a big issue. But he plays like a guy that is kind of like one of a rare breed where, as a coach, if I were coaching him, I'd go, you realize what your job is, right? Your job is to commit crimes on the ice. Like, your job is to attack everyone and everything that moves that has the puck. And then if you get the puck, keep your game super simple, attack the net, drive the puck to the net, and we'll have no problems. And I bet he's the type of person where he'd be like, okay, coach, I gotcha. And he'd be really good at it. So I don't think it would be that crazy of a swing. Like, at the end of the first round, if you have anything come out of the draft that is day in, day out a solid NHLer, like, you've done a good job. And I think Mutrin would be a very, very good example. Stenberg in his prime with Celebrini. Well, that's the thing. Like, Stenberg and Celebrini and Smith together, like, yeah, I would do that. Eklund and Stenberg could go really well together with a Michael Misa. Maybe you wouldn't put them with Misa. I don't know. It's not my job. I'm not paid millions of dollars to coach the San Jose Sharks. But, like, even if you didn't want Stenberg, like, you could argue other directions, right? Like, a 1-2-3 punch up the middle of Celebrini, Lawrence, and Misa. Like, I'm sorry, but you're going to have a hard time against that. like you're going to have a really hard time against that. Whether whoever's playing, I mean, whoever's going to play second or third line, we all know who would be first line, but it doesn't matter at that point. You're going to have a really hard time. Like, and that's an important thing too, right? Like, having a bunch of really good centers up the middle of the ice, that's important too. But I don't know. If it's Chase Reed, it's Chase Reed. It's an acceptable selection, and it could really work out for them. But like, if you watch Sam Dickinson this year and you go, that guy still has a bit of a ways to go, it'll be the same thing. Oh, they meant a higher ceiling guy than a Casey Mutron. Sorry, I misread the question. Or more of a Casey Mutron type. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it were me, I'd probably take a big swing. Like, especially Montreal and Utah. Like, your teams are good, right? Like, the teams are good. You've drafted a ton already. Montreal's already seeing results. Utah is starting to see results from their younger guys. Same thing with Detroit too. Same thing with Detroit as well. But Detroit missed the playoffs and has had a rough go. But I'd probably swing big. But man, it would be, Mutron would be fun on any team. I don't know. It's a tough question. It also depends on who else is available, right? Like, is it him or Preston? Is it him or Villeneuve? Like, those guys will probably be available too, and I would pretty quickly go for them. But Mutron would be a fun one. Oh. Does it not make sense to draft for need if the need is a number one right-hand defenseman, an asset that you'll probably not fall into your lap and you'll probably still need it in a year or two, or nobody is trading them? I don't think you can pencil Chase Reed as a number one right-hand shot defenseman. I don't think you can do that. I don't think he's that. Like, again, I think he is a good player. I see a middle pair, power play, rush offense, quarterback guy. I don't think a number one defenseman, like, you're looking at, like, he's Cale Makar, Rasmus Dahlin, insert your favorite top end Norris Trophy candidate defenseman. Number one, Quinn Hughes, Moritz Seider. Is he that? I don't know about that. Like, I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he's a very good player, but I don't see that out of him. Like, if anybody looks like a guy that could play 20 minutes a night in the NHL and be really good at it, it's Albert Schmitz. You weren't saying specifically Reed, but, like, I guess, but those at 17 years old, they're not usually apparent anyway. Like, I don't think you can do that too easily. Like, to me, that's like saying, well, would you not draft for need because a guy who scores 140 points is valuable, right? It's like, okay, yeah, obviously you want that. You want Nikita Kucherov on your team. You want Connor McDavid on your team. You want Leon Draisaitl. Of course you'd want one of those guys. That doesn't mean they exist. Like, that doesn't, a lot of guys take time to find a job that works for them. And I don't think it's easy to look at a draft class, especially with defensemen, and go, this guy's going to be a number one guy. Yeah, like Victor Hedman. I don't think there's a Victor Hedman this year. A Nick Lidstrom. I don't think that's how it works. Like, I don't think about things that way, right? Like, I think about it as, like, I know what this player brings to the game, and I know where they are deficient, and however high in the lineup they play is great. Like, I don't know how far they can go, but I'm certainly not drafting a player, especially, like, not a Matthew Schaefer level player. I'm not drafting that with any expectation unless they're like unequivocally 100% bona fide first overall pick, like Rasmus Dahlin level. You know, Hedman and Tavares were a legitimate pair at the top, right? Like that is a discussion. Schaefer, Misa. Schaefer obviously went first and should have. You know, like then yes, but I don't think you can have that discussion this year. There are a lot of really good defensemen, and maybe some of them become a top pair guy. Like, if anything, the defenseman that I can identify and go, that guy plays like a top pair guy is Xavier Villeneuve. Like, look at Lane Hudson. Like, if before the draft I had said Lane Hudson is a top pair number 1 defenseman or number 2, whatever you want to call him, people would think I was insane. Like, if there's anybody out there who plays like one of the premier players in the National Hockey League that plays defense, at least before the playoffs, it's Xavier Villeneuve. Like, his explosiveness and his skill combination, yeah, I could see that guy running the show in the NHL for 20 minutes a night. Sure. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely? I don't know. That's why he's not a number 1. But I'm of the belief that whatever works, and it's impossible to know when they're 17 what will work and will not work in most cases, especially outside the first couple picks. And I don't think it's a huge discussion that there's a lot of defensemen that are like whatever you want to call a number 1 defenseman, right? I just don't think it's that simple. Like, yeah, this year you're drafting good right-hand defensemen or good defensemen from the right side of the ice. You're drafting good ones. Are they top pair guys one day? Maybe, but I don't think you can say that with certainty, because that is an extremely tough job. Like, that is an unbelievably hard job to do. And I don't think it's fair also. I just don't think it's fair to look at a 17-year-old or 18-year-old and go, our expectation is number 1 defenseman for you. Maybe a possibility, but I'm not a huge fan of that sort of framing. The cost of getting a top pairing right-hand shot D if they're available is insane. I mean, yes, it's true, but like, I don't think you can go chasing for that. Like, I don't think it's a smart idea to chase after that and go, well, like, because again, it's like the draft is not necessarily about who you draft. It's about who you don't. Like, that's so much of it is like, okay, yeah, you might get a good player, but like, what did you not get? And I also am of the belief that really good defensemen are available outside of the top 10 this year. Like, I think there are quite a few defensemen this year. Like, is there a possibility that Tommy Blale is a top pair defenseman one day? I think it is possible. I don't think it's likely, but based on how he plays, I think it is possible. And you might get him with your 3rd pick in the draft at this point. You know, I just, even like, I don't know. Yeah, like, I'm just looking up and down my list. Like, if you want, like, could I see a guy like Juho Piparinen or Adam Gollier or even Ryan Lynn, if things go really well, like playing on a top pair, offsetting a guy like a Quinn Hughes or a Cale Makar or whatever? Does that make them a top pair defenseman, like, in your mind? Like, I could see them playing that role, right? Like, maybe not number 1, but a very valuable player on your team because of the defensive value they bring. Like, that's possible. I just don't think you can like chase, but like, I don't think you can like go, this is a thing that is rare, therefore in a draft we're gonna just set everything aside and that's what we're aiming for. It's like, okay, like, you can do that, but you're gonna be saying no to a lot of stuff, right? Ivan Demidov is a Montreal Canadian. Like, and look at them now, right? Like, you know, yeah, it's a strategy thing. If that's how you want to do it, I can't stop you. But like, I also just don't think that any defenseman this year, you can just immediately go like, this guy's going to be a top pair guy, right? Like, maybe you develop them for a while and they get there, you know, but I don't think it's that simple. That's a very tall order. That's why it's so hard. Like, that's why they're rare, because it's really hard to be that. It's really hard. But if there's players that kind of check, like Albert Schmitz plays on the right side of the ice too. He's not right-handed, but he's played on the right side of the ice almost every single game I've seen this year. Right? Like, I think, right? I'll double check that, but I'm almost certain. And like, he's been doing it against men. Yeah, he's a left-hand shot. He's been playing the right side all season. And he's good at it. Like, he's pretty good at it. My other thing is that we tried to fix the defense through trades at the deadline, and I think with the cap going up these next few years, I don't think a lot of trades are going to happen. Oh, I disagree. If anything, the cap gives teams flexibility to make trades. Like, why would that mean that trades don't happen? Like, it means that teams are going to be more comfortable acquiring salary, right? Like, they're going to be more comfortable, like, spending assets to increase their cap number. And teams, like, will get more for selling their expensive assets, probably, because there's going to be more breathing room. Like, I'm not saying it's easy to fix the San Jose's defense group, but I think you have to think bigger than just saying our second overall pick this year is going to do it for us. Like, I just don't think you can. I don't think that's a certainty. Like, I've seen a lot of these guys, and they're good players, but like that, the NHL is really, really, really hard, and it's going to take a lot of other stones in the fire to like make that a better thing. And it's hard. It's hard, but this isn't just like a simple fix, right? This isn't your lottery ticket to getting there. And also, like, it's a lot to put on a player. The Sharks are building their team in the same way the Leafs built their team. I don't understand what that even means. Like, I don't know. What does that mean? Have a lot of high draft picks? Like, the Leafs, like, if anything, the San Jose Sharks should do more of what the Leafs kind of did. Like, they did spend a lot of assets to bring in guys that made that team better, right? Jake Muzzin. I mean, obviously some of their trade deadline acquisitions were disastrous by and large, but like, the guys they added that had term, you know, the Muzzins, the McCabe's, they traded assets for them, and they worked out just fine. Pooping your pants in an elimination game year after year after year. We'll see if the Sharks get there for the first to even get the chance. You know what I mean? Every team will happily claim they stick to best player available drafting. Could you give your best guess as to what the definition teams are for best player available? Dude, there are 32 teams in the league, and I bet you, even within the 20 people, 25 people responsible for evaluating talent within an organizational umbrella, like, let's say there are 600 of them in the league, 500 people in the league, right, who do this job. It's like, I bet every single one of them would have a different answer. I have my definition. I gave it earlier in the show. I can tell you what I think. But people in this chat probably disagree with me who watch a ton of hockey too. That's fine. People in the Discord server, they have a different definition too, and that's fine. I see it with people whose work I read. They have a different definition, and that's fine. I have my way of thinking, and it's changed over the years, right? But like, what is best? Like, I've said this a bunch, but like, the best thing about this sport to me is there are a bunch of different ways to work and make it work. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to play and be really good at this. Like, you don't have to be a physical guy, skill guy, fast guy, smart guy. You don't have to be any of those things for sure to be a thing that works. You just have to find a job that you can excel in. So I try to find the guys where I can look at as many situations on the ice that there could possibly be where I'm comfortable with that player. Especially when it comes to getting the puck into a scoring position. What good is a player that scores a ton if they can't get the puck into a position to score themselves, right? Like, that's my framework. So like best, it's up to you. It's up to whoever you want to ask, right? It's up to you. If things remain the same, that Chicago and San Jose could flip positions in the standings next year. Chicago has Knight and better defense for now. Well, yeah, maybe, but Chicago also needs to add some forwards, man. Like they are, and their defense group is also not great either. I think that like saying Chicago has a better defense group than San Jose is not saying a ton considering the names there. Like they've got to add a couple of guys. I think that's a team, or hope that all of your young guys take a big step. But Chicago, I think Chicago and San Jose are in a similar-ish spot in terms of where they could go, but we'll see what happens. I mean, San Jose does have, like, Askarov was decent when he was really going. It's I don't know. It's we'll see. Second overall to LA for Brant Clark and Mikey Anderson. I mean, like, that would help. And Mikey Anderson is really good. I don't know, would LA do that with all the money they've spent on free agents and going out and getting Artemi Panarin? Probably not, but it'd be fun. Do we have a Phil Kessel regen yet? That's a very good question. It might be Mathis Preston. No. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very good question. Maybe no. I don't know. It's a very good question. I don't think there possibly could be one. Did you have Benson rated higher or lower than Stenberg? That's a good question also. It was 2023. Let's see. I did. I had Benson at 8. And I had Stenberg at 14. Or are you talking like this Stenberg, Ivar Stenberg? Because if it's Ivar Stenberg, I have him higher than Benson. But if I remember correctly, oh yeah. Yeah, Benson would have been at the time, if I'm being as honest as I can with myself, he probably would have been a consideration around 5, 6, definitely 7. But yeah, he was a good player. I'm sure plenty of teams went, we don't need a winger. We need defensemen and centers, and let's go get whoever. Let's see, who went? Yeah, like, let's go get Tom Villander. And Nate Danielson, because he's a center, and Dalibor Dvorsky, because he's a center, and here's Zach Benson doing his thing. Anyway, let's move on. Philip Forsberg comparison for Elton Hermanson? I don't think so. Elton Hermanson is a weird one. Hermanson. I mean, I don't know what an NHL comp would be for Hermanson. Like, very skilled, very high energy, really frustrating. Like, loves to play with the puck, almost to a fault. I don't know, but good player. What are your thoughts on Niels Bartolson? I feel like he should be ranked higher than what he is. Well, Bartolson's a really good example of a guy who excels in the offensive zone. He's a high-paced guy, really good shooter, pretty good skill as well. I thought he was really good at the under-18s. He's on my list, but not super high. I think he's just a guy where it's like he's a swing on offense, and if it works, it works. I like the raw skill in his game, and there's good value in that. But in terms of like thinking he's like a super high end guy, I'm not sure I'm there. But yeah, I mean, his under 18 was really, really good. Definitely better than I expected. Mathis Preston reminds me of Benson offensively. Does he have the same grit? I mean, I think Preston is one of the more underratedly competitive guys in the draft. It's just he's got to walk the walk more. I think he talks a big talk and he can walk the walk. Like, I've seen him throw hits bigger than a lot of the guys that people say are some of the biggest hitters in the draft. And I've seen him be a great stick checker. He's a very good defensive player through the neutral zone, I think, a lot of the time. It's just he can take the foot off the pedal. And when he does, it's noticeable and it's really frustrating. And that's been the case all season long. And it is frustrating, but at the end of the day, I look at him and I go, I still would take the, like, I'll tell you this. I always come at the angle of I am drafting the player, me as a person. And with Mathis Preston, like, I understand that there are risks and there are problems and whatever. But if I were in the driver's seat, I would be going to him and going, look, like, you could be up here and you got to play ball and, like, listen to people, but we're going to be behind you the whole way, right? Like, we think you have all the potential in the world, but, you know, let's see where this goes. And I think with Preston, like, I go, look, I understand that you're a competitive guy. I understand it. It's just I want to see you throwing those physical plays. I don't want to see you backing off of physical pressure. Like, because the times I've seen him really be physical and intense and all that is when he's losing. Right? So it's like, you know, like let's just, you know, let's just find that streak a little bit more. And maybe that's barking up a tree that just will not, maybe that's just something that will not happen. But I would be so psyched to have him in the system and be like, dude, like, let's do this, man. You know, I don't know. Let's just do it. Let's just go. And hopefully it works. Who does Casey Mutron remind you of that came out of the NTDP over the years? Very good question. That's a very good question. NTDP. US NTDP junior team. Let's see here. Statistics. Not this year. We'll go back to like 2020 because that's the first year I really watched a ton of hockey. None of those guys. I mean, yeah, I saw Luke Tuck go by. That's kind of ish, but I think he's a better player than Tuck is. Charlie Stramel, maybe. I think he's got a bit more energy than Charlie Stramel did, but skill is there for Stramel, and I think Mutron flashes it too. Yeah, maybe Charlie Stramel. Yeah. LJ Mooney. Yeah, something along those lines. What else do we got here? St. Louis has 3 firsts. What's the strategy you'd go with using them, and what do you think that they need for their prospect covered? I mean, they have a little bit of a lot. I'm just pulling up my sheet here so I can look at who they actually have. Yeah, St. Louis has one of the better performing pipelines in my tracked data this year. Who was leading the way there? Yeah, Snuggerud, obviously. Juracek is on the way. He could be a guy. Dvorsky could be a guy. Stenberg is still plugging along. Carbonneau is an interesting player. I don't know about certainty about Carbonneau. They could use a little bit. I think they could use a little bit of like swing on some potential real impact players. Like, I don't think they have much of that for a team. And I think for a team drafting outside the top 10, you could do that. Like, if Tynan Lawrence is available, if Viggo Bjork is available at 11, which it seems like he might, not a single scout in that Corey Pronman poll had him in the top 10 at all. To me, that is very surprising, and that would be a no-brainer to me. You're going to have some good options. I don't know what the answers are, but the one that leads the way is Bjork. Like, if Bjork is there, you do that. Like, I don't think that's a team that, like, you make a trade and and do something for their current NHL team. I don't think you do that. I don't think they're in that position. We'll see, though. They're an interesting team. They're in an interesting spot. I don't really know the right answer to that. Depends on who's there, but I would say if Piotr is there, then that's an easy no-brainer at that point. We have a 2-2 game, eh? Oh. Noted 62nd overall pick, Lane Hudson. Legend. Would Reed be closer to Bouchard than any... What? Oh, I reset. Would Reed be closer to Bouchard than any of the guys you just named? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe with Reed, it's... I still see Morgan Riley with Chase Reed. That's the guy I see. Any thoughts on why some outlets have soured a bit on Valentini? Earlier in the year, they had him as first round pick, then 2 months ago, most had him in the second round. Now EP and McKean's have him going early in the third. Well, I don't know why you would downgrade him after the under 18s. I thought he was great there by and large, but I think people are still pissed about what he did in the summer, where he went to Kitchener. They traded to acquire him. He showed up for like a day and then went to college, right? Kind of pulled the rug out from under them like day 2, right? Yeah, Morgan Riley had his day, man. That's not, again, like Chase Reed is a good player, but Morgan Riley is also flawed, like, and always was, right? Like Morgan Riley is a good on a good team, top 4 guy, or at least when he was top end at his best on a really good team. Like the problem for Toronto was like Morgan Riley was their best defenseman, and they just didn't have a good, like it just wasn't enough. You know, again, it's not like I don't like Chase Reed as a player at all. I think he's pretty darn good. I just think there's a lot of good players as well that also are very good this year. And I have some worries about his defensive gaps, right? Like, he's a good player, though. But with Valentini, yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, like, I think people also just look at college hockey this year, and I just think you don't have the same, like, there's a bias against college guys. As, like, especially ones that don't produce like a Jack Eichel did, or like any of Macklin Celebrini did, right? They're like, well, what have you done for me lately? You're under a point a game, whatever. But it's like, man, he's 17 years old and did not look out of place on Michigan and looks very competitive, very skilled. There's some things to do to improve on, but good player, though. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, is he at the end of my first round? Yes, he is. So he's in the tail end of my first round now. But I think a lot of people, like, if he were in the OHL this year playing for Kitchener, I feel like he would have blown the doors off the league. But yeah, he might be a good pickup. One of Reed, Verhoff, Carroll's is going to end up on Braden Schneider's level, and that team's going to feel real bad about it. Well, like, I mean, kinda. Yeah, like someone mentioned that there's a lot of defensemen that get drafted outside the first round that turn out to be awesome. And I agree. Like some of the I did this during the pandemic. When you looked at what was I going to say? Oh my god. When I looked at data for the remote hockey analytics conference in Ottawa during the pandemic, I did a study on like defensive value in the NHL and who brings the most defensive value. And there were as many guys, like first round picks were still a good amount of them, but like undrafted guys turn out really good defensively more often like past the first half of the first round. Like defensemen come out of nowhere a lot of the time. You know, like I watch the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm like, half these guys I don't even know who they are, and they make it work. Right? Like Sean Walker, I've loved Sean Walker for years. I've loved watching him in this playoff. And he's a $4.5 million defenseman. Like I don't think it's so simple as like you have to have X in order to win. Like, who's the indisputable number one defenseman in Vegas, right? Shea Theodore? Alex Pietrangelo at like 36 years old? Like, maybe. But would you rather have Shea Theodore or Victor Hedman when they were in their prime? Would you rather have Cale Makar or whatever, right? Yeah, Chris Tanev, undrafted. You know? I think people think they know what defending looks like and project it very positively. And in reality, the NHL level, it's very difficult to be a good defender and requires skills that I think people may overlook, or traits that people overlook. What's your prediction for most out of left field pick in the top 10 or 20? Ooh. Good question. I mean, out of left field, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting ones. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Malhotra does go top 3. If you see guys like... I could see a team looking at Oliver Suvanto and going, I want that guy. I mean, stop me if you've heard this story before. He's 6'3", 4", barely eligible for the draft, played men's league hockey all year long, is a refrigerator on skates. He's a center, played center against men this year, had a decently productive season against men. The guy's a school bus and moves the puck really well for a big guy. Is that not something an NHL team is going to go, that's a really highly rated guy to us? I bet that's been my thought for a while, is that Oliver Suvanto, for a guy that I have in my top 20, like, if defensemen and centers are starting to shoot off the board quick, a team might just leap at drafting a guy like that. And that could be a really interesting idea. I don't know if I would do it, but it would be really fun to see it play out. What's your version of bad, medium, or good and amazing outcomes for Stenberg? Cam Robinson speculating he could fall past 4 even. I've always compared him to like a Seth Jarvis. That's the player that I see there. A guy that can just do a lot of things very well, and you love having him on the team. Like, smart playmaker, smart passer, underrated shooter, doesn't waste his opportunities, really efficient transition player, especially offensively, a better forechecker than he gets credit for, but nothing is like incredible about him, right? And I think teams are looking at Seth Jarvis and going, man, I wish we had that guy when we drafted someone else instead of him, right? Like, it's not the sexiest pick, but he's really good at hockey, and he does so at a really high level already. Like, a bad outcome for Stenberg is that he just struggles to make an impact in some way in the NHL. Like, he's smart enough, he skates okay, he's skilled enough, but it just isn't enough to, like, be the guy. Medium, like a mid case for him, like middle 6 winger, a kind of guy who could maybe kill penalties, but be a power play threat on the half wall, but like maybe not the most impactful guy at even strength, but still kind of there. But I think there's a lot of things to really, really like about his game that I just feel a lot of confidence. Sharks should take Schmitz. I mean, Schmitz is really good. Like, I think he just has such an interesting modern way of playing the game, and I would love to have him on my team. Like he plays a style of play that is really, really, really attractive in this day and age. And I think that when you look at the fundamentals, you can look at how he skates, you look at how he plays with the puck, you look at how he covers himself defensively, how he gaps up, the actual evidence in front of you. Like, he's played at the Olympics against the U.S. and looked pretty darn good. He was at the World Juniors and shut down Gavin McKenna over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I think there's an argument that he is really advanced for a player on both sides of the puck. Like, we interviewed him on the channel. You can go watch the game tape, and we asked him about his defensive game. Like, that's a thing that teams have questioned him about. And he was just like, I have played on pretty bad teams. But he basically said, I've been playing on bad teams quite a bit, so I got a lot of practice defending, so I think I'm pretty good at it. And we were like, hell yeah. You know? Oh, boy. Fun times. Anyone who spent time in the draft space should recognize there have been a talk. Yeah. Yeah, like, I think it's really dangerous to start applying like top end NHL upside to any kid being drafted outside of the ones that it's like screaming at you in the face, right? Like, I don't know. I just don't think it's a very healthy thing to do. Like, these guys are still teenagers, man. And they're just athletes. Like, they're teenagers and they're just athletes. You know, all we're doing is evaluating what they can and can't do. What players do you anticipate will benefit most from late birthdays? Who do you anticipate will be hurt by their early birthdays? I mean, hurt by their early birthdays already, I'll tell you, Tynan Lawrence is one. Like, he doesn't turn 17 until July, man. Like, and he played college hockey this year. I've had Wyatt Cullen really high for almost the whole year because of how young he is and where he could be in a year. But I don't know if it would like hurt him. I think in Oliver Ilya Morozov is like sort of flying under the radar a little bit. Maybe not. I haven't right around where people usually have him, but he's really young too for the draft class. That also might affect him. I mean, Stenberg benefits, I think, from being one of the older guys in the class, just from having all the experience and being further along. Like, it gives you more to chew on. And that's part of the reason I think that it's not just a two-man race at the top. Like, I think this is a close draft year. Like, I think it's much closer to 2021, where there are just a whole bunch of really good options. And 5 years from now, we're kind of like arguing about who would you rather have between pick 2 and pick 8 or whatever, right? First line centers in the NHL. Oh, you just listed a bunch of really good players. Best player available is the best player who's similar to Koblar, Cowan, or Danford. Exactly. Yeah. Now we're talking. Can Preston down 3 hot dogs before the game and score 2 goals? Probably. You know. Why is there such a disconnect between you and the scouts on Preston? Can't it just be the frustration factor? I mean, he doesn't score. He's not scoring as much as people expected. Forget the fact that the games he played for Vancouver, 45% of the goals were scored and he had points on them. Forget about that. Don't think about that. But just look at the number of points that he has and immediately just go, well, he underperformed. I think people still think his shot selection is questionable, which it at times can be. But I think he's a really good playmaker. Like, he has... If we want to talk about how good a playmaker Akela Malhotra is, I can prove to you that at the very least, Preston is right there with him. At the very least. It's just undeniable when I watch him and I go, yeah, this is a guy that can set up a goal just as easily as he can score one himself. I just think that it's very clear to me that, yeah, and he's a little smaller and he's a winger. So it gives you all the ingredients to ignore a guy like him. And I think there's also a matter of people don't like people like him in the NHL. He has swagger. He has confidence. And I don't think the NHL likes outwardly confident people. Look at what happened to PK Subban. He was a second-round pick. Like, PK Subban was extremely outgoing and charismatic and never really got his flowers until way too late. And like Preston, for example, fell in the WA. I know for a fact. I'll tell you this. Preston was a top prospect for the WHL draft, and I know for a fact there was a team drafting very high that interviewed him and they asked him, what are you going to do for us? Like, what's your expectations? And he said, one day I'm going to score 50 goals for you. And they didn't like that. They thought that was a bad thing, that he was like, I want to score 50 goals. That's what I'm going to do. And they didn't take him. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, how do you not, like, he's a 15-year-old kid with a ton of confidence. It's like, you're supposed to accept that he's really good and nurture that. Like, that's the whole point, you know? So it just doesn't, I think that people don't, like, people want you, I think a lot of people would prefer you to be the farm boy, the quiet, reserved, like, humble and meek. Like, I show up at the gym first thing in the morning. I'm always the first one there. I'm the first one on the ice, and I'm just the best. And I milk cows on my weekends, and I volunteer at my church, and it's like, and I throw 3 hits a game. Like, that's what people seem to want and get taken by. And but if you're like, I'm really sick and I want to be the best out there, and like, like William Nylander fell in the draft partially because he was answering questions like, I want to have the puck. Like, I asked my teammates to give me the puck. To some people, that's a negative. Like, and yeah, like, sure, there might be a bit of an arrogance to that, but like, you're telling me there's no arrogant people in the NHL? like you're telling me that there are professional athletes that excel at a sport that aren't a little bit arrogant sometimes? Like, just walk the walk, man. Like, if you talk the talk, then you better walk the walk. And I've seen him do that. So it's a risk, but I think he has as much superstar upside potential as anybody in this draft class. In a perfect world, the Leafs should have McKenna play in the AHL for a season. I disagree. We just finished talking about the idea of arrogance, and I'm not going to say anything about McKenna's off ice at all, but he plays a little arrogant. Like, his style of play can be a little bit like that, right? And I don't think that's controversial to say. Like, there are times when he can be a little bit like, yeah, but he's really good. He can kind of get away with it a lot of the time. But for me, it's like, I want that tested, right? Like, it's like, all right, you're the sickest guy on the ice. Welcome to the NHL. And I go, I'm going to be behind you the whole way. I'll be patting you on the back every time something goes well. But I also want things to be a learning experience when things don't go so well. The Uri Slafkovsky treatment. Like, Slafkovsky in his rookie season, I don't think he looked NHL ready. But the goal was like, you play him, he learns his lessons. It's a decent spot for him to sort of be, and you go from there, right? And it's about development. It's about managing the person. And in my opinion, with McKenna, yeah, I don't want to baby him. I don't want to give him an easy ride. I want to give him a hard job, because that's what he's supposed to be doing. And if he can't handle it, we just go, okay, but like, let's work through this together. Let's figure out what's working and what's not and move forward. I'm not going to bench you. I'm not going to throw you to the wolves, but like, I think that's exactly what you should do. Because what's he going to do in the AHL? Who cares? Like, what's he going to do back at Penn State next year? Who cares? Like, he's just too good for that. like I want him. He hasn't been challenged, really. I mean, he was challenged at the beginning of the year, I think, this year, but I don't think that's because of the level of play. But I think he needs a real, consistent challenge that will never get easier unless he gets better. And maybe the AHL is that, but like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like I want him in the NHL just to push him and give him a hard push. But it's not to belittle him. I want to be clear. It's about how you manage a situation like that, but I would rather see it. Nazem Kadri was arrogant. To a lot of people, he was seen as arrogant for a long time. And he's won a Stanley Cup. Like, I don't know. Where were we here? Do you have Raymond's SHL metrics compared to Stenberg? What's the difficulty difference between the NCAA and SHL? I think, depending on the conference, they're becoming very quickly comparable. Let me see if I can easily pull up my data from 2020. I do track a lot more data than I did. Yeah, I think it's this one. Oh my god, I have to. Yeah, 2020. So let's see. We've got Lucas Raymond. So yeah, Stenberg is better. I mean, Raymond was a very good shutdown guy in his day and age. His numbers were fantastic in that regard. But actually, I feel like this is not correct. I think something might have gotten messed up here over the years. Raymond. Let's see. Lucas Raymond. Yeah, I mean, he was very good. I will admit, he was very good. Didn't play as much as Stenberg. But, oh my god. How about I just filter for Raymond only? Raymond. Yeah, like, yeah, so it's very, very difficult to do an A to B because I track so much more data now than I used to. But their numbers kind of scale similarly, honestly. But I would say Stenberg has the advantage on paper, but he also wasn't as young. Let's see what's going on in the shorts, and then I'll go back to this. By shorts, I don't mean the pants. I mean the YouTube shorts. My hot take is Mikey Birdchild should go late first, early second. Hey, that's kind of where I have him, and I could see it. He's just a high upside, high risk guy, I think. I don't know why you don't have Liam Ruck in your first round. He's guaranteed to be Jarvis or Kindle. I disagree. I just think Liam Ruck is a fine, smart winger who I don't think the speed in his game or the pace of his game comes close to Jarvis. I mean, I think he's closer to Parasak, but I'll tell you, I didn't have Parasak ranked, so that might give you a hint. What's the draft date? I think it's on the it's the last weekend of June, so 26th, 27th, if you're still wondering. European kids that come over get better acclimated to North America culture, show the kind of maturity that would help them succeed. I mean, that's partially true. I mean, it's not like Europeans don't have culture. It's, like, I think culture shock is definitely something to keep in mind, but like, again, like that's a personality management thing. Like, your job is to make them comfortable, right? Like, at the same time, I could argue, like, a player from Slovakia coming and playing in like Peterborough, like, I've been to Peterborough, it's all right, but like, I don't know what you're like acclimating to there, especially if you're going then from Peterborough to like Buffalo or Seattle. Like that's a culture shock in and of itself, right? Like, I think it's more about like the biggest thing, I think, is what you said it, maturity. Like, can you stick to a workout regimen? Can you eat right? Can you sleep enough? Can you be a good teammate? Can you do these things? Can you listen to a coach? Can you sort of be a little humble and learn as you go, right? Like, can you do all those things? It's not that easy, especially like I think that's where a lot of these guys that are really, really, really talented kind of fall apart a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to work out as an NHL draft pick if you're shoving your entry level contract up your nose, if you know what I mean, which is definitely a thing that has happened. Have you watched Rudolph's Burrs counts, and do you think we can have a Nestrasil Ely Protus draft plus one season? I love Rudolph's Burrs counts, man. I think he is one of the most underrated guys in the class. I think he's come so far in his game this year, from the start of the year to now, similar to Nestrasil, but he's also a center, Latvian center, so that's a plus too. Oddly enough, there's a little bit of like, we talk a little bit about Tinus Luke Koblar. There's a little bit of that there, I think. I think there's a little bit of that where it's like the play up the length, the youth, the play up the middle, the skating ability isn't there, but I think that there's a really good upside player there. I think there's a really impressive one. I think long term, you're going to get a really good one. You leave him in college for a while, let him grow, let him, give him I think he's got offensive tools as well. But as just a two-way guy, I think if you did a top 5 or 10 guys in the draft in terms of their play along the boards and like puck protection, he might be one of the best in the draft. Like, I think he's one of the best puck protection guys out there, and I think he's awesome. I love him. He's a second on my board. Let's say that. He's a second round pick on my board, but I've moved him up steadily over the course of the whole season. Can I get 4 names of the hardest working guys with good leadership? Let's see. In the 24 to 40 range, I mean, Victor Plante for sure. Casey Mutrin. Casey Mutrin's the captain of the NTDP for a reason. In a way, Adam Valentini, I guess. Jack Hextall, I would be surprised if he wasn't something like that. Uh-oh. Dobish gets run. Gleb Pugachev. If you need a guy to set the tone for a game, you could draft your Gleb Pugachev. Some of those guys I think would make sense. Yeah. Something like that. I probably need more than 4. Let's catch up here. What do we got? Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock. Oh my goodness. Has scouting gotten better? I would think it did. Does analytics agree with this take? Yes. So I did look at this. I mean, dude, go watch it. On one hand, yes, the numbers don't lie. Like some of the drafts in, I would say before the lockout in 2004, it was a joke. Like, and one of my favorite things, I did this the other summer. It might not have been last summer. It might have been the summer before. But one of the things that I did was I went and watched a lot of old NHL draft. Look at Sean Walker going right to the net. And he killed Dobish. One of the things that I loved was watching old draft broadcasts from like 96, 97, 98, 99. Literally, word for word, the same drivel you hear every year about the players. Big body, clears the front of the net, good coach's dream, blah, 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 right? Like, just a guy, you know, like it's the same stuff. And I urge you to do the same. It's really fun. And I don't mean that to be like, yeah, people are stupid now. Like, I'm not saying that. It's really fun to just be like, you know what? The more things change, the more they stay the same. But in general, I do think it has gotten a lot better. I think you see a better version of players being drafted higher in the draft. You see less like boneheaded like 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick steals just because guys are 5'10", 5'11". I mean, it still happens, but it's not as common. It's not as easy to identify. But yeah, I think that it's kind of both. In some ways, yes, and in some ways, like teams now what happens is teams kind of do what teams used to do in the 1st round, but in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th round, right? Like in 2001, Simon Wang must have been a 10th overall pick, right? Aki Berg was a 2nd overall pick or something like that, right? Like it was crazy time. It was nutty. But now, yeah, I think with the advent of data science and analytics, like it's undeniable that strategies have changed. Yeah, Pavel Datsyuk. Russia's a little different at that time, but yeah, pretty much. Memorial Cup thoughts. Honestly, I haven't seen enough to give you a good take, but Everett looks pretty darn good from what I have seen. Can Wyatt Cullen be a center at the next level? I wouldn't do it. I don't think so. I think he could be a sick winger. Nice chance. I think he could be a sick winger. I don't think about him as a center, really. I haven't thought about it at all when I've seen him this year. Why is Alexander Coman propelling up draft lists? Because he scored points at the under 18s. And if you score points at the under 18s and you're not named Mathis Preston or Tynan Lawrence, you're allowed to jump up the list. I mean, Coman is fun to watch. He's a skilled player. I think he has some good playmaking, but yeah, I think he is not a. I think the under 18s exemplified a lot of why I have him in the 2nd round, and I don't really see him as positively as everybody else does. I think he's got some good traits in his game, but I think he's a long shot, but a fun one. If he works out, it'll be fun. But I wouldn't pick him in the 1st round personally. Does he come with a group of homies like Jarvis does? I don't know about that, but I hope so. I think you're talking about Stenberg. As a neutral fan in this series, have the Montreal Canadiens always been obnoxiously embellishing in the playoffs, or is it just this year? Well, they haven't been in the playoffs much lately, but I don't know. I feel like everybody's doing that. I don't think you can lay it at the feet of the Montreal Canadiens. I think everybody's doing it. Who should the Kings pick at 17? Your thoughts? I mean, if Mathis Preston in LA, if it worked, would be so sick. Artemi Panarin teeing up Mathis Preston. Oh, that would be sick. Quinton Byfield teeing up Mathis Preston. Oh my god. Yeah, that would be sick. Maybe Viggo Bjork will be there. Maybe Tynan Lawrence. Those would be my guys. No, but in reality, I don't know. There's a lot of good options in that range, though. It might even be like a trade down if you can type thing. Adam Novotny could be a really good pickup in that range, but I don't know. He might be there. Wyatt Cullen in LA would be a ton of fun. Cullen might be a guy I'd push for. Malte Gustafsson if he's available, but you already have a lot of really good defensemen. But yeah, Preston. I love Preston. How come highly drafted Finnish players struggle to reach their potential? Kakko, Laine, Kotkaniemi, Puljujärvi, Juolevi. Well, Juolevi played with London. He didn't play in Finland in his draft year. Barkov and Heiskanen worked. Well, I mean, I think it's just a... I mean, I think in Kotkaniemi's case, he was drafted too high in the first place. Like, if Kotkaniemi probably should have been more towards the back half of the top 10 and brought along slower. And I bet he'd be a good third line center, and like, that's fine. Laine has just been broken. Like, Laine did score 40 goals in his rookie season. He did have a period there where it was like, whoa. It just was not repeatable. And he did not diversify his game, and it just didn't work. I think Kakko, you can see kind of the ingredients, and he has been pretty good. Like with Seattle especially, he has been pretty good. But like Lafreniere, I feel like the Rangers were trying to get something out of him that he just isn't. Like, I don't think he had the skill to be a skilled forward, but he also wasn't like big and strong enough to be the style of player he was in Finland in North America to the level that people expected. Whereas like Slafkovsky, who I would argue is a somewhat similar-ish style of player to Kakko in a way, like, he's got the size and the length and the strength to do it really well. But I mean, and I think Slafkovsky is quite a bit more productive this year than Kakko was, but sort of cut from a similar cloth. But it's just Slafkovsky is a better, more projectable version of that. Puljujärvi, I will go to my dying breath thinking Puljujärvi in anywhere but Edmonton would have gone way differently. He was so good, dude. Like, when he was at the World Juniors and Finland won that gold medal, he was with Kasperi Kapanen. Like, they were incredible players. Puljujärvi had a great rookie season, too, as an 18-year-old with Bakersfield or in the AHL, wherever their team was. He just was brought to the NHL too quick, then got hurt, and they handled it terribly. Then he got hurt again, and hurt again, and hurt again, and it just fell apart. So I don't think it's as simple as like Finnish players don't work. Sometimes players work, sometimes players don't for a various number of reasons. I think in the last few years, Finland has genuinely just not had the level of raw talent, but this year is different. I think they have some good players this year. Maybe the games I watched with Smitch were not so fun and great games of his because I didn't see the greatness. I do think he could be great. So you do think he could be great then? Okay. Yes, I am still going, believe it or not. If Burke trades down to get Tyler Biggs because he's going to get a star, how are us uninformed fans not to put that pressure on actually good prospects? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, just, we gotta be careful, you know? If you love who you drafted, great. But I watch a lot of hockey and I watch a lot of the NHL, and I go, it's no disrespect. Like, I absolutely am in no position to disrespect a player by suggesting they're not a top pair defenseman or something. But I'm just going, look, like, let's just see. Keep doing your thing. Don't worry about where in the lineup you are. Keep doing your thing. And if you just stay focused and just focus on your play, then you're going to be fine. You know? We have an idea of what you're capable of and what you're not capable of, and we'll work on that. I think that's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. Preston looks like he's 29. I don't know about that. Schmitz and Zurich looked like a teenager, but you were kind of drunk. Yeah, true enough. Do you think Dobish was an NHL star goaltender in the draft? No. I don't think, again, like, I don't think anybody outside of Wallstead, I have never seen a goaltender that I can just go, like, that guy's going to be incredible. With Wallstead, you just kind of had a feeling, and he was doing it at the SHL. Like, Dobish was playing, USHL hockey, I think? You know, like, could you say that about Tobias Treibel this year or Igor Rybkin? Like, I don't think so. And yeah, Dobish was a 5th-round pick, right? And like Dobish was an above average goaltender this year, and he has been up and down in the playoffs. It's just when he's up, it's really important and he's incredible, right? Like he follows through, you know. It's a little bit a little more mixed, but he's been great. Like you can't argue. They're in the conference finals. A lot of it is because of him. But I don't think you can, again, goaltenders especially, right? Like I don't think you can predict anything like that. But one thing Montreal clearly does well is identify goaltenders who are just gamers, man. Like Dobish, you can tell he doesn't care. Like he cares, but he doesn't. He plays against you. He doesn't care who you are. He's taunting guys. He's like in your face. He's got like an attitude about him. He's not scared, and I think that's a hugely positive trait in a goaltender. You can't be scared in net. You got to be the guy who's dictating. You know. Dictate more than you can. Just dictate. It's the same thing as a player. I love players who just dictate the play. Goaltenders who dictate the game. It's great. It's fun to watch too. Small doesn't score but can play make with the best in the draft. Is he Jonathan Drouin? Maybe. If Jonathan Drouin went 40th overall, I feel like people would be pretty happy with that. Pro interview tip: if a goalie prospect asks you to reschedule their interview because they get sunburned, draft them. Exactly. Yes. Now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere. Did you see the 2 videos the Leafs put out behind the scenes of their North American scouting meetings? The comment was made about a player being like Wendell Clark who worked on a farm. Yeah, I would imagine that's Carson Carroll's. Yeah. Do you think Seattle broke Shane Wright, or do you think the player was just not as high end as we originally thought? I think it's the latter. Look, I've said this before, but Shane Wright was a lesson for me in like watching him play and going, I don't really know I don't see what the fuss is about. I thought he was a good, smart center that moved the puck very well. He was a very efficient player, and I think he is that in the NHL. Very good shooter, but he's another player where I file it away, where I'm like, if I go, he's a great shooter, it's not that important to me. Like, I just don't, like Alexander Holtz, great shooter. I don't care all that much. Most guys, I don't really care. Like, it's a good thing to have, but if you're talking top end guy in the draft, that's a little questionable to me. Like Shane Wright, yeah, like he went 4. In reality, being as fair to myself as I possibly can be, I couldn't have Wright lower than, I'm thinking back to how I felt at the time, 4, 5 maybe. I wouldn't have had Juracek ahead of him. Cooley, absolutely. I could have easily seen Lambert ahead of him. Slavkovsky even. Yeah. Slavkovsky, you're right. Don't twist my arm. I don't know. Take either at the time. But for me at the time, it was like, I don't know about Wright being like far and away the number 1 guy. Then I look at the guys I had after him, like Nemec and Savoy and Ogren and Nazer and all those guys, and I go, yeah, I probably would want Wright over those guys. Like, but like this is kind of another thing too, is like the downgrade from Wright to Nazer is not that huge at this point. So it's like, just because you don't draft really high doesn't mean you're gonna fail, right? Yeah. I don't know about they broke him. I think he had a good year too. Like when I watch Seattle, Shane Wright looks better than he was. It's just, again, Seattle doesn't have that guy. Like they don't, like I think Matty Beniers can get there, but they need a guy who can play with him and drive great results. Like an offensive guy. Like if Beckett Seneca were playing with Matthew Beniers, it would be awesome. I mean, maybe that's Berkeley Catton long term. I don't know. But yeah. Do you like the Habs strategy of hoping Dobish stops everything? Well, it's worked so far. What are your thoughts about Alexander Bilecki? Very good skater. I have a game of him to do. I'll probably do it tomorrow. So I'll have better thoughts Thursday. But very good skater. I don't really know what he's going to be. Like, he's on my list. I don't know. I'm not sure. Is Malhotra the next Nick Suzuki? I've seen this as a comparison. I don't think so. I think, again, I think Malhotra's defensive... Suzuki's two-way game is top end. I don't see that in Malhotra at all right now. Maybe one day it could be, but that's like... I don't think there's a certainty of that being the case. Like, if it happens, then you got lucky, right? Like, I don't think based on how he plays, you can see that. I think his offensive game is very good. Like, Malhotra... I'm trying to think of a guy he kind of reminds me of. Like... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're getting a Nazem Kadri out of him type guy, where it's like there is offensive tools, there's some physical tools with the puck, and the defensive game, the off puck game, those refinements, those little things haven't improved him, or have improved over the years, and maybe that's the case with Malhotra. But like Kadri being a third line center on a cup contender, no problem, absolutely. Malhotra third line center on a very, very good team, absolutely, I can see it. But it's going to take steps to get there. Keaton Verhoff would have been the number 1 pick in 2002, probably. Well, I don't know. Probably though. It would have been up there. I feel like Juho Piparinen would have been a top 5 pick in 2002 or something like that. Alexander Karmanov would have been top 10. I mean, I watched Boris Valabik go 10th overall, so yeah. Yeah, Ua Levy was also injured a lot. That's true. Is Oscar Holmertz worth an early second-round pick? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. Antoine Vermette for Malhotra? Sure, I could. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, Holmertz is kind of frustrating. I loved him last year. I just feel like he hasn't gotten any better this year and kind of, if anything, got worse. The skill's there. You see it. He's very smart with sort of his small area passing. His awareness is good, but I have him as a watch list guy now. I feel like he's a swing late maybe, and you buy upside maybe long term. Yeah, Belchitz would have gone first overall for sure, 2002. Absolutely. Yeah. Seems like a lot of interesting options in 26 to 36 aside of Preston. Who would be the biggest upside swing? Villeneuve. If by some chance, I mean, I think there's a ton of upside in Averty Svensk. I love him. That's a big upside swing. Let's see, who else? Victor Plant, I think, could be a really valuable one. Wiggo Sorensen, if you wanted to take a home run swing, Wiggo Sorensen, but the word might be out on him a little bit. Which top-ranked prospect has the lowest floor or the most risk? I don't know. People are talking about Malhotra at 1, and I think he's got a pretty low floor. I mean, maybe Viggo Bjork. Bjork is great, but the NHL is going to be a test. We'll see what happens, but he's an interesting one. Oh, Brooks Rogowski, 2002 God, absolutely. I could actually get behind that, though. Rogowski's an interesting player. Sure. If you were allowed to clutch and grab and slow the game down to the point where nobody wanted to watch hockey anymore, then Rogowski could be a superstar. Other than the Leafs, which team would be a good organization for Preston? I don't know, man. Montreal. I could see. Yeah, Vermette was a good player. Again, Malhotra is not at 80 on my list. He's at 15. Good player, but when you scale him up to the rest of the class, I think he's got a bit of a ways to go. I scale him up in an AB next to some of the guys I have ahead of him, and I go, yeah, those guys are bringing more now. Did you see that Wilkes-Barre clobbered Springfield? I did. 8-3 or something like that. Call me a meathead, but I see it with Carroll's now. He's a defensive crackle to him very few do. He's very fluid, not crazy fast, and he's a hammer with his offensive feel and is just smart. I mean, I think his defensive game is very good. If you want a physical defenseman with a good floor, Carl's is very good at it. I have doubts about his offensive game, but if it's towards the end of the top 10, you could convince me. It might be a tough job to convince me of that, but I could see it. I just watch his feet defensively though a lot of the time, and I go, oof, this guy is gonna yeah, I don't know if it's a team thing, but look, go watch the report I did on him. There's a lot of evidence in there that yeah, he's a good physical defenseman, but he gets beat a lot because he just does not move his feet at all defensively all that much. And I don't really believe in his puck carrying. But good again. It's not like I don't like him. Good player, top 20 guy to me. It's a close year. But he's a good one. He's fine. But yeah, like if he goes top 5 and you take a Tommy Blale 29, they're different players, but like in terms of offensive output, Tommy Blale needs to fill out a little more, but I don't think it's that huge of a downgrade. And you might get him 20 picks later. How big of an impact do you think the pandemic had on Wright? I think that's very sketchy, because if you're going to say that, like, why did it not affect other guys? Like, why would it, like, why would other guys thrive? Like, Wyatt Johnston didn't even play, and look at him now, right? Like, I think that with Wright, when he was a draft eligible, a lot of it was like, he just wasn't it, right? Like Logan Cooley certainly didn't look out of place. But I mean, I'm sure it did matter, but I think it's a little bit of all of the above. How bad was the NHL draft in 2022? Outside of Slafkovsky and Cooley, have there been any guys starting to reach their potential? Yeah, I mean, Nazer has been quite good. I thought Ogren looked pretty good with Vancouver once he got traded. Savoy, I thought Savoy also looked pretty good for Edmonton at times. He can't be in your bottom 6. Minchukov, if Minchukov is available this summer, I would think about picking him up. He's come along really nicely. Osland for Buffalo is also looking pretty good. People forget Korchinski is still floating around. Cutter Gauthier is looking like probably the guy I missed on the most, and he has been an unbelievable improvement since I remember him at 15, or at 17, I should say, 17 years of age. Hudson. Who else? I mean, Jimmy Snuggerud had a really good year. Like it's been decent. It's just, it was a bit of a crapshoot. I mean, I still feel pretty good in general in my ranking that year. I had a tier from 7 to 26 where you could argue anyone in that range, and I still feel pretty good about that. I might have reordered some stuff a little bit here and there, but yeah, I mean, really looking at it in terms of tiers, I should have had Snuggerud a tier higher. Maybe even Matejchuk probably, but he was the top of the next one. But it was I think there's a lot of good players in that draft. Yeah, Beasted. I mean, Beasted looks okay, but I mean, like, he hasn't, separated himself really. I mean, these guys are still only 21, 22 years old. But yeah, I remember this draft class and looking at it and just thinking it kind of dropped off real quick after that first 3 or 4 tiers. Yeah, 3 tiers. And the beginning of my 4th. We're not all perfect, I'll tell you that. Who are the big dudes to draft in the 7th round? Dude, I don't know. Who are the big dudes that you could draft in the 7th round? Depends on who's available. Who are the ones that I like? No, he won't be there. He probably won't be there. I mean, a lot of the ones that are going to be there in the 7th round, I've probably never even heard of, honestly. Vladimir Karabayev might be one I'd take a look at. I don't know. Alexander Grunin in the 7th round could be interesting. Matvey Kotkov plays pretty big, but he probably is gone by then. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Preston will be available for the Habs at 31? Yes. I'm getting excited for the draft, but Zito will trade the pick away again? Maybe, probably. Do you think his skating posture, I think this is Carroll's, do you think Carroll's skating posture will be an issue in the NHL? I don't know. That's a better question for a skills coach, or a power skating coach. But I think it is a bit of an issue. I don't think that's a huge Lars Hudson, 7th round darling. Isn't he next year? I think he's for 2027. Yeah, he's next year, my friend. Maybe next year, though. But I mean, I do think that Carroll's skating ability is what will potentially limit his offensive impact. Unless he starts offensive play in the offensive zone, then he could be an impactful guy. But defensively, yes, I think that that's a bit of a shortcoming. Canadian Grand Prix thoughts? It was nuts, man. That race was really crazy. I mean, it's too bad about George Russell. He had a failure and knocked himself out of the race. But Kimi Antonelli, man, he's on a run. We're a McLaren household, so we're obviously very disappointed. But Kimi Antonelli, man, that kid is on a run. I mean, I think they said on the broadcast if he won the championship, he'd be the youngest person to ever win the championship. Which, I mean, as much as I am not a Mercedes fan, I would very much love to see that, because that's always incredible. I love to see that kind of thing. I mean, look what I do for a living. Indy 500. I only saw the end, and what an ending it was. I think it was the closest ending. Was it to an IndyCar race period, or was it the Indy 500? It was the closest finish. It was something like was it 2.5 hundredths of a second? Something like that? Something crazy. Okay. The Canucks are going to take Malhotra over Stenberg. My fandom may him to an... Well, okay, look. Number one, there's nothing you can do. Right? Number one, there's nothing you can do. You're not in the driver's seat. Okay? But if it is Malhotra... Like, the NHL is funny. Sometimes things work out. I think there is an argument to be made that Malhotra has a very good developmental trajectory ahead of him. Having a dad that is Manny Malhotra probably helps off the ice a lot. I don't think he is the third best player in the draft, but based on his style of play, I could see him being a good NHLer, which is why he is where he is on my list. I just think you're saying no to a lot. I don't think there's certainty to it. I don't think it's worth jumping off a bridge, right? I don't think it's worth burning your jerseys over. It's not that bad. It's never, like, it's way too early to know. You don't know. I'm telling you, I've been watching these guys all year. I think anybody telling you with certainty that it is a dumb idea has not been doing this long enough. Like, I wouldn't do it, and we will see if I am right. But it is possible that the Vancouver Canucks really do believe and are correct in believing that their specific situation will work very, very well. And they love him, right? You know, maybe that's the case. I have my evidence for thinking the way I do. But like, it's just like, it's not, I mostly am doing this because it's like, I want you to feel good. Like, it's just a hockey team, man. It's just a hockey team. And obviously it's great when they're good. But like, it's not, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And also, like, it gets you off on the wrong foot with him, right? Like, if he is the guy, it just gets you off on the wrong foot. You may as well just become a fanatic and go, yep, he's the guy. That's it. It's going to be him, ride or die. Do it like you did with Vasily Podkolzin. I remember Vancouver Canucks fans yelling and screaming at me for years and years and years. I would be like, he's a really good third liner. I'd love to have him on my team. And they go, nope, first line winger. First line winger, he's going to score 40 goals, and you can't tell me he won't, and you're an idiot if you think otherwise. And it's like, okay. You know, and now he's not even on the team anymore. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like, I'd rather you do that than be like, oh no, we got Vasily Podkolzin, I'm going to jump off a bridge. You know, it's like, you don't know. Just be patient, enjoy the ride, see where it goes. He's not fully developed yet. I have my reasons. The Canucks have better resources than I do. They have more people doing this than I do, which is just me. So I maybe I'm missing something. It's entirely possible. Maybe everybody knows things I don't. Maybe I am just really bad at this. But I have my conviction. But it'll be what it'll be, man. But it's like just enjoy the ride. Like, yeah, you mentioned you've got Ogren, you got Bouillon, you got Marco Rossi on the team. You got stuff. It's not over, and there are more picks in the draft than just Caleb Malhotra, right? Like, you can do some damage if you want. It just wouldn't be my pick, that's all. Is Malte worth a top 15? I think so. I think he's one of the better defensive players in the draft in the truest form of defending. You want to talk more at Sider type players. I think he's right up there. Really good defensive player, really mobile, really skilled as well at times. Keeps his game simple, but very effective. I really like him. Yeah, some people see Patrice Bergeron as Caleb Malhotra. I personally would never, ever compare anybody to one of the greatest two-way centers to ever play the game. That's just me. I don't know. It's just so funny to me, right? Like, it's like, if you expect him to be Patrice Bergeron and he turns out to be Nazem Kadri, and you're like, well, I'm disappointed in him and he's 25 years old, we should trade him because he's not worked out. It's like, yeah, but you still have Nazem Kadri on the team. Like, what are you doing? And your perceived valuation on him is way lower than it actually is. Like, Podkolzin's a great example. I love watching him with Edmonton. I loved him with Vancouver, but like, it's as if it's like the expectations were higher. So that when he was a good third liner, when he was like a good guy in the middle of your lineup, it was like, oh, it's just not working. He needs a change of scenery. It's like, well, what if you thought he was the third liner the whole way? Is he more attractive of an asset in your mind? Like, I don't know. Like Macklin Celebrini, I don't think anybody expected him to be this good. I thought when he was drafted, it's like, yeah, top 6 center, no questions asked. And the faster he gets, the more skilled he gets, the better off he'll be. Little did I know, he got way faster and way more skilled and way more confident. And now look at him, right? But I had set my expectations like, let's see what he can do. And keep pushing him and keep pushing him and keep pushing him. And if he gets the exponential thing, then I feel great, All right, let's close this out here. More likely to happen: NHL draft gets bigger or smaller as more teams are added to the league. Smaller, no question. If the NHL had their way right now, I guarantee you they would shorten the draft like that. Right? I guarantee you. Look, the number of times I hear NHL teams get to the 4th round, and half the scouting team puts their feet up, if not more, and they go, I don't know. And then the GM just goes like, who do you want? Right? Like, I know an NHL team at one point looked at the guy who like does their spreadsheets in the 7th round. It was like, who do you want? None of us want anybody. Who do you want? And they were like, blah, and they picked a guy. Right? NHL teams, their lists are like maybe 40 guys, 50 guys long. I know there are teams out there where they're like, we haven't watched Gavin McKenna once this year because we're not going to get him, so he's not even on our list. Like, it's not. It's a little more nuanced on the other side of the equation than you might think, right? It's a little different, But so if the NHL had their way, the draft would probably be like 5 rounds at most. And like, obviously, in a way, I would agree. I mean, I'm team abolish the draft, period. But I agree. Like, look at the success rate of picks in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I mean, if it were up to me, based on my track record in the later rounds of the draft, I would just trade future considerations for 7th round draft picks left, right, and center and just draft everybody and just see what happens. I think there are always players available in the draft that you're like, I could take a swing on that guy. Thomas Galvis, 200th overall 2 years ago or whatever for me. Ludwig Johnson. Why not? Take a swing. Why not? Your McLaren, why? Mostly because we really like their color scheme, and what was it also? There was I mean, we loved Carlos Sainz as a driver there. That was fun. And because, how about that? Putting $100 on the Avs to win the cup is 15-1. That's it. Oh man, I would think the odds of that happening are like 1,000-1. 15-1 feels way too. I'm not taking that risk. Should Canucks fans trust the Canucks process? I don't see why not. I don't see why not. I would say for Canucks fans, like having the Sedins around, why not? They like again, it's like Toronto. Toronto hired Matt Sundin and he has a vested interest in making it work because he loves Toronto. He wouldn't take that job and be like, I'm just gonna phone it in. Like the Sedins have a vested interest to do the thing. And I think that's good. I think the Sedins are smart from what I've seen and heard of them, especially since being hired. Same thing with the Matt Sundin in a way. Whenever I hear him talk, I go, yep, you know what? For the job that they hired him to do, I think it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, if I'm a Canucks fan, like what do you have to lose, right? Like it can't get much worse. Like you finished dead last by a pretty wide margin and everything is going to be new. So you may as well hold on and go for it. As far as I know, and I don't know a ton, but as far as I know, on the other side of the coin, things are looking better there. So we'll see. Is there a limit to the amount of future consideration used to trade? Well, the future technically is not infinite. You know, you've got like a Google to the power of a Google years left in the universe. So if you keep trading future considerations and go, well, I might not get back to you until the sun envelops the planet Jupiter. I might not get back to you until then, but like, I want that 7th round pick. You know, oh snap! We got a game now. We got a name down. We got a game now. Oh boy. Yeah, this is the thing, man. You're in the Bell Center. Loud as hell. I mean, in reality, I don't know about future considerations. I feel like it's a very loosey-goosey thing that just like nobody cares about. Which player do you think could be a surprise top 10 pick nobody's really talking about? I said Suvanto earlier. I could see that happening. Yeah, Noah Dobson, worth every penny. I mean, that's, again, like, talking about trading picks and stuff, like, the Montreal Canadiens traded multiple first-round picks and got Noah Dobson. Oh, is it offside? Interesting. What would you have in place of the draft? Oh, now we're going to get into this. We'll do this, and then I got to get out of here. Oh my God, it's almost 10:30. Yeah, okay. Okay, so here's what I would do, all right? No more draft, but what I do is I allocate each team 3 entry-level contract slots a year. And they're tradable. Oh, I think that's offside. Every team gets 3 entry-level contract slots a year, and they're tradable, right? And they're like draft picks. You can trade them, right? And in the off season, there is a, let's say, 2-week period, a negotiating period, where teams are allowed to, let's say each of the 3, you have a salary cap for those 3 contracts. So if you want to spend all of the salary cap and sign one player, you can. If you want to save your salary cap and split them among the 3, you can. If you want to spend less and like maybe save some of that salary cap space for the 3 years next year, you can. Right? In that 2-week period, you negotiate with the draft eligibles, the 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds, whatever you want. You could negotiate with any player eligible for, oh, no goal. There it is. Yeah, that makes sense. 3 goals, or you get 3 chances at it, right? And you can sign 1, 2, 3, 0, whatever you want, right? Trade the slots, whatever. And it's a free for all bidding war. So you sign the players who you want, wherever they choose to sign, and it's your job to convince them to come to your program. But that salary cap you spend on entry level deals, it's like you can't just sign the number one guy every year, because every single, like, it all, I don't know how the specifics would work. I haven't sketched it out properly, but you can't just sign the top guy, because maybe you spend $10 million on the top guy one year. The next year you don't have the space because your entry level salary cap is already up pretty high, right? And then if players don't get an entry level deal, then you do like a supplemental 3-round draft, right? Then you have like a supplemental draft pick after that. Is there a limit amount to a team can spend? Well, there would be a cap of, like, let's say 3 contracts, I don't know, $15 million. Let's say it's $15 million per 3 contracts, and you get that number sort of every year, right? And so I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, like, I would get rid of the draft and total amount, but I don't think there should be a limit per contract. I think if a young player can get $15 million out of a team right away, they should. Should the team pay that kind of money? Probably not. But should they be allowed to if they want that player? Like, if Connor Bedard were a $15 million player at 18 years old, would he be worth it? No, probably not. But, like, get your money, man. Otherwise, like, I think that the current system is just too restrictive. You don't get to choose where you play. You're at the whim of the organizations that are the worst in the league on paper. And your salary is, like, locked to be some of the most valuable per dollar in the league. And you have to hit bonuses in order to become any kind of a threat to your salary cap impact. Like, I think that's unfair. And then you're a restricted free agent at the end of it. And you can only sign, really, generally, with the team that drafted you. Like, I think that that's unfair. I'm a believer in the free market. And like, it would be like an auction. A literal boy auction. But it's like, if teams want the guy, the player makes the decision, right? Like, and I know people, when I've brought this up before, people have been like, well, what about, like, Winnipeg? They would never get a guy. I don't think so. I think it would be on the Winnipeg Jets to, like, number one, if that's the case, then yeah, like, already they're facing that problem. So, like, what good is it forcing players into that situation? But, like, if Winnipeg had players that they really wanted, and they could, like, they're a good team. You know, it's like, you could just jump on board and we'll add you to the team right away. You get to be an NHL player. We'll give you $8 million and call it a day. I think there are players out there that be like, you know what, I'll give it a go. Why not? Right? I don't know. I think that would be a better system. And think of how exciting it would be. Think of all the juice that insiders could get in that 2-week period where players are negotiating with teams and, like, who's on whose radar and, like, and then you have a day where, like, the players declare. Like, you don't announce the deals until a given day. And it's like, Gavin McKenna signed with X. Albert Schmidt signed with X. You know, so-and-so signed with so-and-so. And then you just go from there. Right? Like, I think that would be the coolest thing in the world. You know, like I love the draft. I think it's cool. But that would be really, like, finding out how much a team would be willing to pony up to get Gavin McKenna, to fit him under their salary cap and just take the bet on him right away. How much would he make? I don't know. But it could be fun. It could be fun. I don't think the Panthers would get everybody. Like, the Panthers 5 years ago, 10 years ago probably wouldn't. So they might now. But I don't think it's a guarantee that it would work. And also, like, not everybody wants to play in Florida. And also, you only get 3. You can't get everybody. And there's a limit, right? Like, you can't go out and spend $10 million every single year, right? Like, maybe you have a total salary cap for entry level, like, you $15 million a year on 3 contracts, and the total, let's say, is over, I don't know, you have 3, 6, 9 in 3 years under a normal entry level contract structure. You have 3 years, so that's 9 players over 3 years. Let's say you have 15, 30, 45. Well, you can't have 45 million, but, like, let's say it's 30 million total. Right? Let's say it's only 30 million total. You know, so you can't You go out and spend 15 on McKenna. Maybe you trade the other two. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. It could be interesting. McDavid would be the only one that would apply to year one. I mean, maybe. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like not everybody would show up immediately. But I think it would also create an interesting dynamic of like, yeah, the player might not play for you. Like, what would Anton Frondel get? More than what he's getting on an entry-level deal? I would bet that he would. You know, like, even if he doesn't show up for a year or two, getting 19-year-old Anton Frondel for $5 million in this era for 3 years, it's not, I'd say it's not as much of a screaming deal as an entry-level deal, but it would certainly make it a very interesting situation. And Frondel would feel like he got his money's worth, which he might not right now. Or there might be guys that you could snag, like Verdi Svensk, you could snag for $1 million, maybe $800,000, and you no one would bat an eye. You'd be like, who's this guy? But you'd be like, I believe in him. I want him. I don't want anyone else to have a chance at him. Sharks spend $1 billion on Reed. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It's not something I've fleshed out. I'm not paid enough to figure it out. I get paid like nothing to watch guys play hockey and give you takes. I don't organize these things. I don't have that kind of job. But I just never really agreed with the idea of a draft in the first place. As much as I love it, I don't know. But it's interesting. Anyway, I gotta run. It's late, so thanks for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Too convoluted? Brother, have you read the NHL's collective bargaining agreement? It is unbelievably convoluted. The rules for a draft pick is also so... Who's eligible for the AHL? Who is eligible for the NHL draft? Who is playing... There's convoluted things everywhere, my friend. I don't think it's... Like, the navigating the salary cap with LTIR, is that too convoluted? I still don't understand it. So what? You figure it out. That's what you pay a guy $1 million a year to figure out, right? Your scouts become way more valuable. So the scouts get more of a paycheck. Good for them. You know? I don't know. I don't think it's that convoluted. Like, it's kind of like the baseball situation with the international players. They have like slots allocated to sign guys as free agents. Like, I think it's just a better system for the individuals than, oh, our team is awful, so we're automatically gonna get a guy no matter what they think or say or do. They're ours, and ours for 8 years, 7 seasons maybe. They're ours, and there's nothing they can do about it, right? Like, I just don't think that's a very good system in general. So no, I absolutely, I think it would also be a tremendously exciting thing. And like, imagine teams could trade those. It's like, oh, we don't really like anybody in this class. We'll trade an entry level deal and allocation money to so-and-so. I don't know. I'd be very curious about it. It would make for very interesting market dynamics, and I think it would be really interesting. Anyway, we got to run. Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining me. This was fun. Watch the end of this one. This is going to be an exciting finish. We'll see you then. All the best. Stay safe. Be kind. Do your thing. And try not to jump off a bridge about Caleb Malhotra in the next 3 days, because it's not worth it. It's fine. You'll be okay. Everything will be fine. Okay. Bye.